So good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Mindset Mastermind. We are wrapping up one more thing, chapter 18 today. And it was kind of fun yesterday as we were prepping into this, letting people know that, it's time to be open-minded. It's time to be open to possibilities. This whole quantum physics piece of this, I have asked you guys to kind of look at previously. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody has the connection of the dots as we dive into the next to last chapter and talking about one more prayer and the power of faith. That being said, it's your room or your guys' room. So if any of one of you are going to pop in like you always do, I'll pop out of my chair. You'll pop in. You'll be in front of the camera. So just tap me on the shoulder, let me know, and I'll bail. Because it's your guys' room. So who wants to speak up first? Doug, always awesome to hear from you. And I know this chapter spoke volumes to you. What do you got?
Oh, absolutely. This is like bedrock of life, really. Communication with the creator, or understanding about speaking things that are not as though they are is basically quantum physics in biblical language. So if you're going to see something happen before it happens, if you're going to have a vision, if you're going to have something, a driving force in your life, this is where it comes from, is from your faith and from your prayer time with the one that is the creator. So it's practice and conversation with the creator, who's very good at this, by the way. So he speaks stuff into being all the time. So this was a super enjoyable chapter for me. And it's like I said, it's basically the bedrock of really getting into high flight in life.
It's so interesting to me how we know. Okay, let's turn that off because we're gonna get. Yeah, let's not do that. We're in the same space. We'll share mine. Anyway, it's very interesting to me how we get in this loop that we have absolute faith for what will go wrong. That is the human condition. And instead, having this faith that there is a higher power, having their faith that there's other things out there that we don't understand, know about, working for our success. And the top of page 226. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. That will change your world. Caesar, what do you got, brother?
I'd like to add as well, Coach, on page 227, to live a full life, there must be several times when you suspend the necessity of needing to know everything before you act. So this is so much in my life now with the child, even in our business, when you're like, these cycles happen, you're like, oh, you don't need to know, you need to act and just continue doing the work and continue to grind. And I think that's what will continue to separate ourselves in this environment. So that was just a nice words to understand, like, you don't need to know everything before, especially from someone that's a little bit of a higher C at times, like analytical wise, like, oh, you need to analyze, and they're like, no, you don't. You just need to act. So that was just a nice one.
Yeah, this section was so important. I actually wanted to read this page into the room for you guys because I see it time and time again where people avoid action for a myriad of circumstances, be it fear masked as, oh, I just have to need Nora, I have to analyze. If you feel the need to reach a certain threshold of knowledge before moving forward with something, you will become paralyzed by inaction and fall behind those who are more willing than you to step into the unknown and act anyway. To live a full life, you must be several times. There must be several times when you suspend the necessity of needing to know everything before you act. This is especially true with faith, because we never are going to know everything there is to know about faith. By its very definition, faith precludes this type of thinking. Does this limiting thinking hold you back, not only in your faith, but in areas elsewhere in your life? For example, suppose you're the type of person who needs to know everything there is to know before jumping into action. Oh, let's say hypothetically picking up the phone and making calls. In this case, chances are you're never going to be the person who risks starting their own businesses or entering into a new romantic relationship or building that business by having conversations. A need to know everything in advance belief system will not serve you well throughout your life. Every area of our lives, especially faith, depends on stepping into the unknown in some degree or another. The faith makes that step easier. It makes it to where, I always say in the room, and I'm in a room today walking around and talking, if I walked around step by step by step every day running this reel in my head, I'm going to trip, I'm going to trip, I'm going to trip, I'm going to trip, what would happen? Yeah, and everybody believes it. Rush, you're going to trip. The opposite is absolutely got the same truth and energy. We just got to believe in it. If I walk around all day saying, I'm going to set an appointment, 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 what's going to happen that day? An appointment's going to happen. We're just not leaning into that for some reason or other. What else does anybody behind me or anybody in front of me have?
I got a comment.
Come on, pop in, Joe.
Okay.
We're going to play musical chairs.
He said hop. So I
And by the way, Joe is brand new. Say hi to Joe.
Hey, I got applause. That's good. Doug. I remember Doug and Celeste, of course. Yep. So and Maria. Talking to her the other day. So it just occurred to me, I was not prepared, but I heard what Russ actually read from the book. So in a way I read. And from that passage, I can't help but thinking about the tie between what we're talking about and sports, where when you get out on the basketball court, for example, everything you do without preparing to do it. You just react to what's your environment. Every minute unfolds. And I thought that would be an interesting analog to take into this conversation, a model for behavior, successful behavior.
By the way, so that ties into being prepared, guys. It ties into the practice and role play. We were talking earlier today because some folks had some challenges last night and again today with rooms and travel, and spontaneity is a conditioned reflex. To be able to be spontaneous, faith is the key cornerstone. You know everything's going to work out. Let's just go with the flow. So I'm going to go with the flow. Who's next up? Julianne, you got the floor.
Hey there. Good morning, everybody.
I'll give you
Well, you
back.
mentioned, so we talk about faith here, and we're talking, on specifically on this page about having the faith and knowing before we do. And it's like I've had a strong faith since I had my second chance at life after my accident when I was 19 years old. But I can have blind faith in that, in God, in talking to him, in being his conduit. But I have never applied that same trust to building a business. In having relationships, yes, I believe people come into my life. Every single person who comes in and out of my life, there is a deep purpose. Even the woman at the grocery store yesterday, whom I shared a very random thing with, connected her to her father who passed. And that memory, I'm like, that was a God wink. That was from God. You must have needed to hear that. I wasn't supposed to come down this aisle, except now that I met you, I know that I was supposed to. So those small, seemingly insignificant to like my overall well-being has always filled me, which is why I wanted to do what I do. But I've been fearful these last couple of years to step into it for my business. And I'm on the verge of tears right now because I feel like it's almost my birthright. It's why I'm here. And that's what Ed Milet does to me. That's why I was so obsessed on getting to join this book club, because I absolutely adore the words. This man is a conduit. And I didn't think the page was going to really be able to convey the passion and conviction. And I don't think I've ever been moved by a book more so than this one.
Well, I love that you're leaning into the content, that magic has happened every step of the way. Josh, I'm muting you for a sec because of feedback. I'm going to go to Carrie first and then coming to you, Josh. What do you got, Carrie?
That was powerful, Julianne.
Mine is more of a question. Like, if you don't have faith, how do you learn faith?
That is a great question. And can I come back to you with a question, Carrie?
Yeah.
And it's fun because we had a conversation yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And what have I noticed in you?
Change.
Okay. How has that occurred where that shift to accountability, which is really what I have been witnessing?
Mm-hmm.
How has that occurred in your world?
How is that? After a long time of learning to do something different.
Okay. And by the way, as part of that too, have you not been educating yourself on things that lead to that accountability? And
Yeah.
have you not been marinating in an environment? In fact, let's go back to quantum physics. We know from standard physics cause and effect. And most of us are very cause and effect thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum physics does magical crap that we can't explain. Here's one thing we absolutely know. The environment controls the particle. The pure act of observing changes the outcome. So every one of us has in us. So you keep leaning into this space. And when you're in those moments where your faith in yourself, your faith in your creator, your faith in your business, your faith in your relationship, your faith in whatever is being challenged, and you need to lean into people, do it. I see so many times. I've got somebody right here in my backyard, not my space, not these guys, who is, I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna do it on my own. I know what to do, and they are floundering. And every time they plug in, great things happen, and they go back to that old pattern. Yeah. So stay in long enough to break the pattern and begin leaning into people on a regular basis. We have each other for a reason. We have been created to be a social animal for a reason. Take advantage of it. Josh, you were next up, brother.
All right. Sorry about the background noise. Page 233 talks about the energy you emit says certain things about you. And I've thought about that in a lot of ways. Haven't really always connected it to faith. But the interesting thing that I found, even if you are amongst someone who doesn't have the same saving faith as you, even in a business environment, I do think people can feel that, whether it's the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, just your ability to be calm and confident in all situations. And the really interesting part is, I do think even though they may not have the same belief structure or faith, that they would find comfort in working with or dealing with or doing business with somebody that does have faith. And in a way, it's kind of comforting, not necessarily in a way that you're going to press your faith onto them, but that they do feel comfortable being led or drawn by somebody who has a strong faith. And you've got to remember that in anything and everything you do, you're always emitting that energy. And so that can either work for you or that can also work against you. And so you've got to be mindful of that.
Yep. Well, and there's this fun dialogue between faith and religion. And so many people conflate the two. And the reality is, what we're talking about in this faith can be, quote, without, for some people, and I know not most, but for some, without a religious figure or a deity, and still have faith in the quantum field, still have faith that the activities you're putting in are going to bear fruit. Man, Robert Camacho made a plan to do 30 open houses in 30 days. He did 23. And he got 4 listings, if I remember that. It's either 3 or 4. None of which came from the open houses. He hasn't been doing anything with his real estate business in the production side in quite a long time. All of a sudden, he was getting come list me calls from people he knew in his past. For me, that's the faith in the higher power, in the quantum field, for me, in God, that if I just put in the work, it doesn't matter where I put the work in, magic will happen. It's Zig Ziglar. You help enough other people get what they want, and you will magically get everything you ever desired. That's the kind of faith we're talking about. So, Jeanette, you're up, my dear.
Oh, I see Julianne put in here about, yes, emitting an energy, of course. At my most recent listing is certainly, it was a personal referral, but just the first conversations with the person that I was talking with was hard for her to finish a full sentence, just the nervousness or the distractedness of it. And just in the 2 weeks that we were working together, anyway, the next time she said, no, I knew you were the person when you came in. And I thought, well, as we're talking about that faith, we've all had it happen in some way. So I know it's not just me, or that I'm special for that circumstance. Yes, but we all have that place and that time for it. So knowing that it's there and having the next part, once you get it, if you've got it, then obviously now I need the faith. I get to walk in the faith that I have the ability to accomplish it. And I have some others where I'm still walking through that ability to accomplish it, just because of some of the circumstances with them. So the different levels of faith and where that piece will come in, where the connection comes in, because we know it within ourselves. And there's plenty of us who had warnings and about something, and you just, this is not the thing to do, this is not the place to go, and found out because somebody else had an accident there or somebody else got hurt there, and we're going, that was just about me, that could have been me. And then again, take somebody like Julianne, and coming through the accident that she came through. We've talked about it through different books that we've had, where people, their faith was their energy to heal themselves, or to walk out the healing, because there was something in there that they knew. It didn't matter about what the doctors said, because what they knew about what they could do. Where's Dorothy? Dorothy's one of those ones that's on here. She walked through that, and that's only, and it's not age related. It's not limited by age. It's limited by, it's our mindset. It's our mindset that we're getting here is, we're building faith in ourselves and in each other. This is really a place of faith.
Yeah.
Because
here's kind of the fun part of it, to pull it out of the spiritual realm for a moment. in, I believe it was 1953, it was scientifically proven the human body could not run faster than the 4-minute mile. Your heart would explode and you would die before you broke a 4-minute mile running. That was the science of the day. In 1491, the world was, right? It was, yeah, some people still think that. We got that. That's true. And yet it was scientifically proven fact until someone had the faith that it wasn't. And then exploration started. When Roger Bannister had faith that he could build a system and process to break the 4-minute mile, he did it. The following week, the guy who had the world record for like 6 years of 4 minutes, 1 second, broke it the following week because he saw someone else do it. So he absorbed their faith, their belief. People seeing you do it, seeing you put in the work, seeing you get the results, even when you don't, by the way. You're seeing incremental change and it doesn't feel like things are happening. Coach is sitting outside watching massive change occur over time in Carrie, in Justin, in Ryan, in Dorothy, in everybody in this room, in Maria and what she's doing, and Celeste and what she's doing. I get to witness it. So again, you can always borrow my belief because I'm watching it happen over time. Alicia, I saw your mic come in, didn't I? So I'm going to give it to you. And then Julianne, I saw yours.
So I was just going to say, there's that experiment with the basketball where you just picture it, and you picture throwing the ball and making the basket, and you actually get better. So, I mean, whether there's different things where it's proven in science that just trust in the process.
Yep.
can make a difference in your performance, or do all these things like you're talking about on the quantum level. So I think either way, faith-based or you need some type of science to tell you that this is really a thing. I don't know if it's for those who have faith, if it's we're divinely created this way, or if it, if for people who, aren't religious, just trust the process.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. So Julianne, it's going to be you. Then it's going to be Justin. Then it's going to be Ryan. So Julianne, as you're speaking up, I'm going to bounce out so Justin has a chair, okay? Oh, Julianne, did you get sidetracked by something? I saw your mic go hot. Going once, going twice. Ryan, the floor is yours.
You want to go first or second?
I told you you were.
All right. So I'm going to pick up where Josh had left off. Thank God for glasses. Your ability to be intentional and make people feel or not feel certain about things is critical in achieving the things that you want in your life and dream about. So to me, that's like influence, the ability to make people feel a seductive quality to get things moving, energy moving in a way. Remember that you are always making people feel something, and I would add into that even yourself. The next paragraph starts, there's an energy that attracts certain things to your life and an energy that also repels things away from you as well. And I'm going to backtrack to page 225. Consciously and subconsciously, you pray more than you realize. You may not view it as a prayer, but your mind's natural tendency is to think about what you want in your life. You see them as desires, but in reality, desires are a form of prayer. So what I'm taking away from that, I feel like for me and for other people I see, we're putting prayer or manifestation or meditation on some kind of pedestal, like it's like a unique thing. And if it challenges some belief, maybe that's not real. And I think that at the most basic level, we're always influencing somebody, especially ourselves. It starts with ourselves. And like talking to ourselves, that's prayer or meditation, or that's that conversation that we're talking about. Right.
What's up, my people? 229. It says linking faith, energy, and quantum science. Some people consider themselves incredibly faith-based. Some others think of themselves as energy-based. Finally, others are science-based. And at the bottom it says, science has actually confirmed my beliefs in complexities, beauties, and marvelous nature of my faith. So, like, to me, this is like I can live in all three. I can have faith, I can believe in science, and I can be energy based. Like all three of these. If I drive a Chevy, it doesn't mean I hate Ford or Honda owners. Like, stop it. Just stop thinking like if I have to have faith that I need to be like science is absolutely implausible to me then. And they're not diametrically opposed. That's the biggest thing that I can think of. And when I was getting this from the reading is like, we can live in several different pieces of this, and maybe, just maybe, they all have a correlation together instead of opposition. So that's what I pulled out of it.
Awesome. And, I absolutely agree with you on the Chevy, GM, Ford, Prius owners. That's another different group, man. I tell you. All right. Hey, we got one more minute. Who's got something to wrap us up here?
Well, Julianne I think it was Carrie that made me think of this. There's a verse in the Bible that says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. And it's kind of what we're doing here. We're basically going through best practices, the best understanding of our day. And this is building our faith in us being able to do the things that we want to. But if you really want to get to the root cause, you got to go to the stream, the fountainhead, and that goes to Scripture. So I thought that'd be a blessing. So hope so.
Absolutely is. Wraps us up. And Julianne, I see your mic's hot, so bring it. We'll finish with you.
My husband's smoothie is done, so he's out now. So I just, it's so simple. To me, it became so simple. Faith is simple. A baby has faith that they can walk, and they have faith that we will provide for them. So what we need is that baby-like faith in ourselves as adults, so we can do his work and live the life he has designed for us. That's all.
Well, it's like everything in life. It is simple, not easy.